All right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I hope your day is going well out there from anywhere that you're joining in for the webinar. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining us on this platform. This is a webinar which is hosted by SLA, that is She Leads Africa organization, which is doing a great job in trying to empower women across Africa and the world. If you would also like to be a part of this community, please feel free to go to www.sheleadsafrica.org and /join. You can join us there on the community. It's sheleadsafrica.org. All right, so today we are having this session on how to create and manage your digital brand effectively. And my name is Supriya Sharma. Now you might be thinking how we have come across this topic and why are we choosing this topic for today? Well, the reason being, life has become really complicated. In the past, we had only one brand to create and maintain, which was our physical brand. And that is constrained by time and space, of course. But the best part was the maintenance was constant. And it was something we could do all the time. Some people could do better than others. And in fact, what used to happen was we used to rise from our sleep, perform activities that could include showering, preening, wrapping yourselves or ourselves with the latest fashion, checking the mirror just to make sure we're looking fine and we're ready for the world. Now, in today's digital age, we also have an online brand to manage, nourish, and polish so we can present it to the world. And this is not restricted to a geographical location. I hope you're with me. The best part of digital branding is that it is not restricted by geographical locations. We can be sitting in any part of the country, but we can be roaming and communicating with people from all over the world, beyond space and time continuum, right? So it's your virtual digital brand. That's the context of today's webinar that we are holding. And I would like to introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Supriya Sharma. I'm the Managing Director of SAS Business Solutions, and we are currently based in Lagos, Nigeria. How did I come upon this idea of SAS Business Solutions? All right. So I'm an aerospace engineer by basic qualification. And when I completed my bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering, I was too excited to go into the aerospace industry and check out some technical stuff there. So I joined a few of the airlines where I got experience about the aerospace, where accuracy was paramount. In aerospace, accuracy is paramount. We cannot take risk with the airplanes which are carrying 500, 400 people at a go. We cannot risk the lives of people. So safety and accuracy are paramount. That was where I started my career, and the building or the foundation of my career was built on that accuracy in whatever I do. I realized that I had a flair for management, and if I had to grow up the levels in the corporate world, I would have to take a management course. So I took up a management course in the UK and the US, and I was all ready to climb up the ladder in the corporate world with the techno-commercial aspect. Now, I moved on to Lagos, Nigeria, and I took a job as a senior business analyst, and was directly reporting to the senior management as in how we could improvise and streamline the working of the organization and make it more efficient and productive. And happy with my work, I was promoted to the position of human resources, heading the human resources and communications. Now, when I went into communication, that was the time I realized that how important digital marketing was. My organization at that time, though it was a big conglomerate, they were not into digital marketing. So they could do their business well, they could manage their business well, but what was missing? That element of digitalization, that element of people knowing you beyond the boundaries, that was missing. And I realized that could be a breakthrough in their business. So I started studying about communications, digitalizing your brand, etc. So that was the time about 5 years back when I was introduced this concept of digitalization. So we're going to be talking about both corporate branding and personal branding side by side as we move on with today's session. So we said about our virtual digital brand, correct? Now, virtual digital brand, it's virtual because it's actually non-existent. Of course, it's all on the cloud. Your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Pinterest, anything you're using, it's on the cloud, so it's not virtual. The physical, however, is we, the people who are actually present. Virtual is our brand, our digital brand. Why are we needing digital branding? Why actually do we need it? It's because with communication and technology, the world has become a really smaller place. Now, I schooled here in Nigeria in the beginning. I moved to the other continent. I moved to the US, I moved to the UK, and I had a need to be connecting with my friends so that we don't lose connection. How did it come in? It was only helpful with the help of this digital media that we are having, things like Facebook, things like Skype, or other media that we could use to connect with our friends. That was the reason we started using this for our personal use. Now, today, we are also going to look at how can we use it for our business. So let's start with your digital visibility. When we talk about digital visibility, it's a big challenge today. There are millions of people who are there on the internet nowadays. By the way, let me tell you, not because I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, I'm not saying this because of that, but because of the statistics, the international statistics that have shown, when we're talking about Africa, Nigeria is the country which has largest number of internet users. The number of internet users in Nigeria is 91.6 million. While the second is Kenya, of course, I think it's somewhere close to 43.3 million or 43 million. So those are the number one and number two countries, and of course, the rest of them follow. So that is the amount of people who are present on the internet nowadays. Can you imagine in a country like Nigeria, you can reach 91 million people through your social media or through your internet, being present on the internet, you can communicate with those 91 million people. However, if you were to advertise your brand using the physical media, like you have the billboards or you have the newspapers, how many people would be able to go through it? If I today try to publish an ad in a newspaper about a seminar that I'm holding, how many people would be going through it? Maybe some few thousands, 100,000. But if I can advertise the same seminar or the training that I'm going to hold on digital media, I can reach up to those 91 million people. And before we continue, please feel free to drop in your questions. You have on the right-hand side of your screens, you have a section where you can drop in your questions, and we will definitely try to answer each and every question that we receive towards the end of the webinar. So please, you're encouraged to drop in your questions. We want to make it a two-way communication, not just a one-way communication. So you're encouraged to put in your questions and we'll try to answer as much as possible. Talking about digital visibility, we said that it's a big challenge nowadays in the world of online noise where torrents of information and global competition is existing. No matter you're a personal or a business brand, you have this challenge. Even if you're talking about a personal brand, if I post pictures of visiting Europe today, the next person will have posted pictures of visiting, maybe Hawaiian Islands, you know? So there's a lot of competition in the personal brand as well. And no matter, you all know the competition about business. If I try to launch a fashion brand today, there are already so many of them that are existing. How do I make myself stand out? Don't worry, we're going to address all this as we move on. So a multi-channel cyber persona is what is now becoming mandatory. I hope you're getting that. We're talking about multi-channel cyber persona. You cannot just be existing on one channel. You have to be existent on multi-channels. So the digital brand persona needs to be spread across things like websites, your blogs, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and this is just the beginning actually. These are the basic ones. These are the most visited social media platforms. We're talking about Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, apart from the fact that you should have your website or a blog. You might not be interested in business. You might just be a person who wants to share about the experiences you've had while traveling. You want to write a travel blog. Please go ahead and create a travel blog for yourself. Even if you don't want to pay for that blog, there are a number of there are a number of websites where you can create your personal blogs or personal websites at absolutely no cost. For example, Wix, W-I-X. Wix is one of them, where you can go and create a blog or a website at absolutely no cost. It's free. So even if you are not a professional, you are a person who just likes to share your experience with others, please go ahead and create a blog for yourself. So you know who are the people following you, who are the people you are able to reach out to, and what are the people wanting to hear from you. You know, you might be writing about your traveling. People might be asking questions about packing things when they're traveling. So you know what people want to know about. So you can write your blogs accordingly and attract more audience. But the key point is your brand message needs to be consistent and constant on a variety of media. If you're a business who's posting content on places like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., make sure there is consistency in your content. You have to be consistent. You cannot be posting one thing on Facebook and what you post on Twitter is something different from that. You have to be consistent. That is the key to success in digital media now. What you require? You would require being persistent and vigilant when you're managing your social media channels or when you're managing your internet marketing. Make sure, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to brand ourselves. Are you with me? We are trying to brand ourselves before people start branding us. Because if we are not out there branding ourselves on different internet platforms, people will start branding us. So we have to take the lead. We have to go first. We have to start with it. If I am a corporate training firm, I have to go ahead and I have to create my social media channels where I can post about my activities, my successes in business that I'm having. Then only will the people get to know that, yes, this company is doing something. If I keep quiet and if I don't tell about my achievements or about the various events that I'm participating in, how will people get to know? How do I expect them to know? Nobody has that dream that Supriya is doing something. She has to post it. She has to make it public. She has to inform people about it. How can she do that? It's only with the help of internet marketing. If you're a blogger, you need to check what blog posts are resonating. You just can't go on writing 200 articles or 400 articles. You have to see what's resonating with people, then view and approve the comments, because people can be commenting anything they like, right? So you have to be careful about reviewing and approving the comments. That's about blogging. Moving on to the others, those who are doing vlogs, that is video blogs, if we call them, you know, on YouTube channels if you're doing, then you have to be careful what kind of content you're posting and how are people resonating with that. If you're a B2B kind of business, if you're dealing with the institutional sales, or if you're selling your product or services to companies rather than individuals, LinkedIn is the best place for you. You have to know about your LinkedIn fans and users, what they want, what are the kinds of services or products that are in demand in the market. How will you get to know them? Only when you're spending time on LinkedIn, you're analyzing the information in an appropriate manner. On the other hand, if you're on SlideShare, SlideShare is a platform where people can share their presentations. For instance, if I specialize in botany, you know, botany is a branch of biology which deals with the study of plants. So if I specialize in botany, I am a professor in botany in one of the renowned universities, I might be wanting to share my presentations with the rest of the world. In fact, the people around the rest of the world. So I can post my PowerPoint presentations on SlideShare. SlideShare is a platform mentioned by managed by LinkedIn, sorry. So SlideShare is a platform where you can post your presentations, your PowerPoint presentations, and you can also view the presentations of other people in areas depending on your interest. If you're looking for something in business, management, fashion, etc., you have everything there. So you can check out how many people have downloaded your presentation, how many people have viewed your presentation. You have all that statistics available. Trust me, all the social media tools that you're using these days, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SlideShare, all of them are providing you the analytics, the statistics to analyze How many people have gone through your post? How many people have liked it? Where did the views come in from? Which geographical region were the views from? Whether they were from Nigeria, whether they were from Kenya, or they were from South Africa. You get to know how many visitors you've had on your post from different geographies. What are the demographics? What are the ages of the people who've been looking into your posts? So these analysis, if you are doing in an appropriate manner, you will be able to do a lot about how to take your brand to the next level with the data that is available to you. And that's all available at no cost. Google Analytics, it's absolutely free of cost. They're not charging you a penny for that. Why should you be doing that? Of course, you have to be doing it because today's world is the world of digital media. You have to be present on the internet. You have to be updating your accounts. I hope you'll agree with me. Your lives have been pushed so much by the digital sphere that you check your friend requests on your phones or tablets or iPads before even leaving your beds. That's true. We have to accept that. So that is the amount of penetration that internet has had in our lives. And we have to take care. We have to use it in a positive manner. We have to use it to our business, our personal effectiveness. And how can we do that? We have to have out a strategy plan for that, which we are going to discuss in the next few minutes. So you have to make sure your public and digital persona is constantly optimized. Security is paramount. My friends, as the internet world has grown, the also issue we have faced is of security. The recent incidents happened with Facebook. I'm sure we've all heard and read about it. So we have to be sure of our security. There are millions of people who are watching or reading our content from around the world, and we do not know their intentions. So we have to make sure our data or the content we post is optimized. We have to make sure it's not hijacked by spammers, scammers, or trolls. And it's an exercise about constant surveillance that you have to carry out. It might be a bit complicated, but then you have to carry out. Your security is important. It's as important as being on the social media. You have to make sure that you are secure. We've discussed a lot about social media. We've discussed about websites, blogs. So what are all these? What are all these? How can we say them in one word? If I were to say, what are these things that I'm having? I have a Facebook account, I have a website, I have a blog, I have a Twitter account, etc., and the list is on. So what are all these? These are the digital assets. Like we have the physical assets, we have our homes, we have our cars, we have our lands, those are the physical assets. We have the digital assets now on the internet, our digital assets, like we have discussed. So business is now playing out online and thinking that your bricks and mortar presence is all that is needed. If you think you have a nice office building and that is all you need to succeed in business, then I'm sorry, you have to take a look back at your strategy. In this world of digitalization, if you're not found by search engines, then you might as well be invisible. Only the people who are maybe passing by that road will be able to see your beautiful office that you have, a 20-story office, maybe if you have a nice one. But what is important is your digital presence. You have to be able to be found on internet. In some industries, up to 90% of all buying decisions start with an online search. So what are the digital assets you need to create, market, and manage? You can make a list of these as we talk about them. Whether you're a person who tries or loves to share information with others, or you are a small enterprise, you're an entrepreneur who has just started or is wishing to start, you have to manage these digital assets, no matter even you're a big corporate. So let's list down those assets. We have the websites, which includes our blogs and e-commerce stores. That is the number one thing. If you are planning to start your business, before even you start, please make sure that you had a website for yourself. So people can find you out there on the internet. Because what happens with us? As soon as we hear of something, we hear a word, what do we do nowadays? We go to our Google and we Google it up. That's what we end up doing. So when people will hear about your new venture, whether it's a fashion brand or you are into catering or any kind of stuff that you're trying to do, even if it is very small, make sure you have a website for yourself. And number one, websites can come for free. Or number two, if you want to have your personal domain, for example, www.cookitup.com, www.finebakery.com, something like that. If you want to have your personal domain, it comes for as low as $10 to $15 for an year. So you can buy that domain and then you can have whatever chosen name you want for your website. But make sure you have a website. Number two, you have to have your social media channels and assets. When we're talking about social media, please be careful about who your audience is. If you are a brand which is selling mobile phones, or if you're a brand which is selling fashion stuff or dresses, what you might be looking at is the Facebook audience. I'm not saying that people who are older or people who are the corporate ones, they don't do Facebook. I'm not saying that. But if you will go through the statistics, you will find that most of the traffic on Facebook is about the youth, is about the young people, is about college-going students. So if you are into a business like fashion or mobiles or any kind of technology-related stuff which attracts the youth, you might be thinking of going onto Facebook or Twitter. Or if you're talking about the other side of it, if you are a corporate organization which is offering corporate services and your services are only catered to the institutions or they're only catered to companies, please, your platform is going to be LinkedIn and not Facebook. Don't try and promote your products or services on Facebook. You're actually going to end up losing money. In fact, wasting money. So if you're planning to go in for a product or a service that caters to institutions or companies, please make sure you are present on LinkedIn. It is really, really important. Number three, your multimedia content assets. Now, when we started, we all started with Facebook and LinkedIn. We used to have the written post. We could only write on them. Later on, what did they come up with? They realized that people like to watch videos and people are able to remember what they watch. Visuals have more impact than what is read. So they came up with videos. Now on LinkedIn last year, I think September last year, LinkedIn has come up with videos. And what I see on my LinkedIn feed now every day is people are posting videos about whatever they want to share. Earlier, they could only write about it, but now they can create videos on what they want to share. They might be wanting to share skills of time management or organizational skills, or they might be wanting to sell their real estate products or services. They're doing it through videos now. So you have to be cautious of the multimedia content you are creating. Then number four, you have your mobile assets, including apps and mobile sites. In case you are into a business which can be using a mobile application, you can make sure that you get one. Maybe not at the beginning, but later on. For instance, if you're an online store, if you want to become an online fashion store, how many people are actually going to go on their desktops or laptops when they have to look for their dresses? What they're going to do is they are going to simply pick up their mobile phones and they're going to see, okay, this dress suits me the best, I'm going to order it. So what do you have to have for that? You have to have your mobile application ready for that. Why? For the convenience of people. To make sure that you are selling more products and more services, because most of the people nowadays are on their mobile phones all the time. So they order everything through mobile phones, they are making payments through mobile phones, and a lot is happening over mobile phones. So you have to have an app if you're in kind of an online selling business. Then number five rather, digital databases including email subscribers. Some of us are into businesses where we need to send out emails, mass emails to our subscribers. For instance, if I'm a travel company, let's say I'm a travel company, and when people come onto my site, there shows a pop-up which says you can subscribe for our latest offers, etc. And people do subscribe. They want the best deals on airlines. They want somebody to notify them when airlines come up with a huge discount or there's a promotion running on airlines. So what are they going to do? They're going to subscribe for my emails. And when somebody subscribes for your emails, make sure you're not spamming their mailbox. You're not sending mails too often. One in a week is quite sufficient. So if you have subscribers and you have to send out emails on a bulk basis, please do not try to spam their email box. We can send them emails maybe once in a week or once in a fortnight if your business is of a different kind. Another free software for this one, for mass emailing, is Mailchimp. I'm sure you all have heard of it. It's absolutely free to use for startups. Then what you have to look at is the value of building and continuing to invest in these assets. You cannot underestimate it. You have to go on creating content that is liked by your users or by your fans or by your followers. You just cannot create an account today and not post anything on it. Well, I did make a mistake. I was not into business that time. About 5 years back, I created my Twitter account, and at that time I found Twitter not very user friendly, so I did not use it much. But then when I realized that most of the happenings, most of the live events, etc., are being shared on Twitter, and it can be real help for business, as I entered into business and started digitalizing my communications, I realized that yes, it can be really helpful if I'm on Twitter. So I started using Twitter. Don't make that mistake. Don't create an account if you have no time or you do not have the resources to manage that account. Make sure if you're creating a social media account, you're able to post content or post information that is liked by your audience in a regular fashion, in regular intervals, maybe once a week, once a fortnight, whatever is comfortable for you. But you have to have that brand recall with your people. Why does Pepsi still post ads? Why do they have such a vibrant Instagram channel? Why? They don't need it. They don't need advertising. Why does Pepsi need advertising? Everybody knows Pepsi. As soon as we want to drink something cold, what comes to our mind is Pepsi or Coca-Cola. They don't need advertising. But why do they do it? It's simply for brand recall. So if those big companies can do it, we, just being the startups or maybe the middle sector enterprises, we have to make sure that we are on social media and we are making our users aware of our brands with that brand recall thing. So you post in regular intervals, whatever is comfortable for you, whether it's once in a week, it's once in a fortnight, whatever works for you best. But if you have a strategy on that, you're going to post content on Facebook every week or every Thursday in the evening or every Friday in the evening, please do follow that. Please do follow that. It really pays to follow that. So now we're moving on to the next level. I'm assuming that we have all created our digital channels, our Facebooks, Twitters, Pinterests, etc. We're all ready with that. And what do we have to do next? So now, once you have created your channels, the next challenge is moving your online brand from invisible to visible. You have to be visible. You have created your social media accounts, fine, but you have to be visible. Why do you have to be visible? Simple, so that your prospects and customers can find you, read your content, they can view your content, they can buy your goods and services. That's what you do, right? If you want to look up for information, if you're visiting a new place and you want to, or maybe if I talk about the students, if you want to join a new university, what do? You go to the internet, you try to go through their website, you try to go through the reviews which have been written by other students. Yeah, you have plenty of information available for you there. Similarly, put yourself in your customer's shoes. What do you want them to do? When they search for you on Google or any other search engine, when they search for you on the internet, you should be visible. You should be found, right? So digital asset creation is not something that you set and forget. You have to be running successful campaigns. What will it require? It will require your multi-channel digital marketing strategies and tactics. I'm going to talk about a few digital marketing strategies and tactics which you can use. Some can be used for free, some can be used for a little amount of money, while others, for the big organizations who actually have plenty of money to spend on their advertising to make their brand grow, they can use those. The ones require a huge investment. So let's talk about search engine optimization. It's known as SEO, search engine optimization. You have created your website, fine, but then you will not be found on the internet when somebody Googles up for you or when somebody searches for you till your website is optimized for the search engine. So you have to use those particular keywords. If you're a university who is specializing in agricultural courses, fine. So you have to make sure your keywords include words like agriculture, courses, university, things like that. So when people search for agricultural universities or they search for something related to agriculture, they're able to find or locate your university. That is search engine optimization. Creating a website or creating content is not enough. You have to use those keywords which people can relate with, and to make sure that your website or your blog, etc., everything is optimized for the search engine. Simple. The reason is simple, just so that people are able to find you. They are able to search for you well. Yeah? Moving on to the next one, we can talk about the Google Adwords. Everybody knows about Google Adwords these days. It's different from the organic search. It's actually a paid one. So if you are into a stage of your business where you are ready to spend some money, you can go in for a paid digital advertising, which will come in the form of banner ads or Google AdWords. We have the pay-per-click option. We have the pay-per-mill option. There are different options available. We can discuss them in detail. Anyone who requires further information on that, you can just Google up. There's information, or you can contact me directly. I'm always ready to assist you in case I can. So if you're ready to spend some money, you can be using your Google AdWords. But if you are a business which has just started, please do not waste your money in this Google AdWords. You are going to be losing not a few dollars, quite hundreds and thousands of dollars. That actually matters to the businesses who have just started and who have gotten funding with great difficulty. Just use the organic search in the beginning if you have just started. Please do not try to spend money on Google AdWords. Going on to social media marketing now. Social media channels, for instance, your Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these are your social media channels. What do you have to do with these? Again, you have to post content that matters. The content that matters to your audience. What do they like to know about? Not simply selling your products and services. Nobody likes to buy products. You have to tell them that your product is selling a particular problem of your customers. Then only they are able to relate it better. Or you have to share stories. You cannot simply go to the Facebook page and start saying that I have, I have dresses to sell or something. You have to create a story behind it. There has to be a story which people can relate to. Because stories actually sell nowadays. We have to hit that part of the emotions of the people. So social media marketing is, again, not just about creating the accounts. Number one, you have to create your Facebook or Twitter or other social media accounts. Number two, you have to be managing them on a regular basis. You really have to be vigilant. People might be posting questions, or they might be making comments about your product or service or an event that you have held. So you have to be ready all the time to be able to answer them. And however angry a customer is on social media, you do not have the right to be angry as a service provider or a person who's selling products. When a customer is angry, you have to make sure you are cooling them down in the best possible manner. Even if somebody abuses you, I'm not talking about abusing you personally, I'm talking about abuses your services. For instance, airlines. People can be really abusing the airlines for not taking off in time or not providing the right kind of menu or the right kind of services. We are customers, we get annoyed actually when we pay money and we don't get the service we expected. But the airline company about whom I have written this bad review, they do not have the right to speak to me in a bad manner or speak to me in a negative manner. The only thing, if they have to manage their social media image, the only thing they can do is be as polite with me as they can and be apologetic for their deeds. So if you are a business which is selling on social media, it has its pros, but also the cons. People can be writing negative things about you. Don't get furious with that. Handle them patiently and handle them politely and in a positive manner. Talking about email marketing next. We've talked about softwares like a Mailchimp, which can allow you to send emails for free to as many number of people as they want. As you want. There are a number of packages they have, fine, but then for startups, the free package works the best. There's no issue with that. So in all, to be truly successful, you have to be present on multi-channels. You have to be possessing multiple digital assets. You have to be using multimedia. You have to be using multiple marketing channels. You just cannot rely on one channel, right? Now, managing and monitoring your digital brand. I can see the time is, it's 11:38 in Lagos here where I am. So I think I will have to wrap up soon. And I'm going to take up questions before we wrap up. So let's finish with that quickly. So multi-channel marketing, we have said now you have to be present on multiple channels and you have to be managing your channels. How do you do that? You require the right tools and platforms to measure the success and failure of your campaigns. For the beginners or even for the big corporates. And I said beginners because as beginners or startups, we want to have free things. We do not have that kind of investment to make. So Hootsuite. Hootsuite is one that you can use to manage your success levels, to measure your success levels, in fact, and manage the campaigns that you are creating on various social media channels. Hootsuite is absolutely free for startups. In the free version, I think you can use up to 3 social media channels. You can manage content on up to 3 social media channels on Hootsuite. So the free version of it is what you can start using. Yeah. And even in big organizations, the community managers, they maintain and monitor tweet stations or Hootsuite or other Twitter platforms basically to see what's holding online, etc. Those are the big deals that big organizations are doing. But as startups, we can be very good with the free version. It really works. So there are other kinds of tools which are available in the market that can help you manage your social media campaigns. For me, I have a good experience with Hootsuite, so I recommend Hootsuite. So what are your next steps going to be? We've had a webinar, fine, but then what's important is, what do you take away? Please pen down these questions for yourself. So after this webinar, you can just spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes to make sure what your strategy is going to be. So you can pen down your strategy. So let's start with this. Number 1, what are you going to do when you finish with this webinar? Number 1, you need to discover the importance of creating these digital assets. So have you discovered the importance of creating these digital assets? You really need to check that. That is your first question you have to answer. It's a self-talk thing that I'm talking about. So when you're done with the webinar, these are the questions you're going to answer with yourself, between you and yourself. Number 2, how important those digital marketing channels or assets are for you and your business as a brand. How important those channels are for you as a brand. You need to find that out. Because unless you realize the importance of these channels, you are not going to put in your best part. We are human beings. We are all like that. Unless we realize the importance of something, we don't put our best foot forward. So you have to realize how important these channels are for your business and your brand. Then, number 3, you have to check, is your marketing single or multi-channel? You have to check whether you're marketing on a single channel or you're marketing on multi-channels, and going ahead in future, what do you need to do? How many channels do you need to increase up to? What are the channels that you need to take up? For instance, I have discussed the example of Facebook when you're trying to target the youth, and the example of LinkedIn when you're trying to target the corporate companies. So your audience will determine the channel you want to use. Companies, of course, they are using Instagram, but then the professionals, the decision makers in companies, those are not the ones who are using Instagram to make decisions. Instagram is only good for the youth, fashion brand or food stuff if you want to sell, or you've come up with a new coffee shop. Things like that work well on Instagram. So what channels are working for you? You have to be answering that question for yourself before you can go ahead with your strategy. I think it's 11:42 and we will try to conclude here. However, I will just go through the questions and I'll try to answer as many as possible. I think I have some on my phone. Okay. So the first question is from Janet. Janet from Lagos, and wants to know how best can we carry out digital marketing. So you can carry out digital marketing as best as your brand. It depends on you alone, how well you want to do it. But Janet, there is one thing: you have to be consistent, and it is a time-consuming process. When you're creating social media channels, you have to be spending time to create content and post content in a regular manner, basically to engage with your customers or to engage with your audience. You have to be spending time. So your channel is as good as the time you spend on it, and it also depends on the quality of content you're posting. So make sure you're taking care of these two things. The next question is from Blessing from Atlanta. She asks, how can I leverage my online space to become my own brand ambassador? All right. So you want to use your online space to become your own brand ambassador. Again, Blessing, it depends on the quality content that you create. You have to create content that is useful for people. They're then only going to engage with your posts or your videos that you are creating. So you have to make sure the content you are creating is useful for the people. Once they find it useful, they're automatically going to engage with you on your channel, and you end up becoming a brand ambassador of your own brand, of your own business or your own company, whatever you might want to call it. Yeah. The next question is from Tessie from Calabar, wanting to know how can one successfully sell on Instagram. Okay, Tessie, selling can of course work on Instagram, but like I have pointed out earlier as well, depends on what product you want to sell. If you are willing to sell fashion related products, if you're willing to sell dresses, etc., they can work very well on Instagram. But then if you have come up with a software which works for big companies and you try to sell it on Instagram, it is not going to work very well. So it depends on your audience. If you're targeting the youth and you're targeting the people in general and not companies, then Instagram is going to work best. The next question is from Mercy from Port Harcourt, wanting to know, how do I build a brand with digital marketing? Building a brand, again, we have discussed a lot of points based on this, and it ends up being into creating useful content for your followers or the people who are engaging with your brand. You have to offer something that makes them stick to your brand, that makes them stick to you. To create that content which makes people be with you for long as you're building your brand. She also wants to know, okay, that was about, yeah. She also wants to know, how do I grow my team in a network marketing business without having to go for seminars? What do I do if my social media pages are not getting the required responses? Mercy, if your social media pages are not getting the required responses, the reason is that you have not been able to understand what your customers or understand what your followers want from you. It could be that you're not connecting with the right audience. So please go back and check your strategy. Are you connecting with the right audience? The right audience who's going to buy your products or services that you want to sell, right? That is one reason, connecting with the right audience. Number two, creating content that matters. Curate your content very well. It should be tailored to meet the demands of your consumers or the customers or the followers. on various social media platforms. Then we have, okay, that question was from Maureen, sorry. The next question is from Ade Dotun, wanting to know, how do I make money out of my social media pages even after I market my goods? So making money out of your social media pages is going to come through AdWords. If your social media page has a great number of visitors, there will be companies who you can partner with, actually, who you can partner with. They can be putting up their ads. They can be paying you for the advertisements they put up on your social media pages. But what is the prerequisite for that? The prerequisite is you have to have social media channels or the pages that have a large number of visitors visiting. Otherwise, there will be no company that might be wanting to spend money or invest money in your social media page. You need to have a great fan following for that. The next question is from Josephine, wanting to know, how do I make my social media pages visible and attractive? Josephine, depending on the type of business you have, the only attractiveness for people is number one, what do you have for them? Do you have any offer for them? Do you have something that they can make use of? Do you have some freebies that you can offer? You know, more people are likely to engage with you if you are posting or if you're offering them something which they can use and they are not paying for it. A lot of people go for freebies. And about making them attractive, making your pages attractive, yes, this is one thing you could do. Then secondly, creating content, again, that matters. That is the most important thing. For any social media presence that you're having, you have to create content that matters to people. Then we have Francis. Okay, Francis asks, how do I stir reaction from my followers on a professional media handle? The reaction will automatically come in if it is something they care for. If they care for politics, you have to be talking about politics. If you are into that kind of business, if you have that audience which cares for politics. However, if you have an audience which cares for technology, you have to be posting similar kind of content. So if you are posting something that can stir up their brains and they can stir up their hearts, they will automatically come in and comment or engage with your posts. So linking with their mindset, what do they want? Automatically reactions would be stirred. Then we have, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. We have Sakane, who wants to know, how do you keep your brand relevant and current? Of course, this is important. You have to be aware of what are the current trends going in the market. You cannot be, creating a product or a service which is 3 years old, and while you will see that now things have changed. So you continuously read while you have your own blog and website. Make sure you're reading the blogs and websites from your competitors who are into similar kind of business. You have to be knowing what they are doing to be retained in the market. You have to be doing similar things, right? So you have to be aware of the market trends. Then only you can make your pages relevant. If you yourself are not aware and you are the content creator, how do you expect to be having a relevant page or a relevant social media channel? So keep yourself updated. Then we have Adenike wanting to know, how does one become a successful digital marketer? Adenike, digital marketing is no rocket science, but all you need is consistency. Number two, the second thing you need is to be able to relate with your audience. Number one, you have to be consistent. And number two, you have to be able to relate with your audience, giving them what they want. If they want to talk about technology, you must be having knowledge or information to share on technology. That is what they want from you. Then we have Henshaw wanting to know how to market on a low budget online. Henshaw from Port Harcourt. During our webinar, we have discussed a lot of options where you will not even need to spend any amount of money actually. Some website creators, some social media channels, they come for absolutely no cost. However, there are large companies which are using money, or they are spending or investing money in social media advertising. Please, if you're a startup, don't go in for it. All the channels are free for beginners. So if you're a small enterprise or you're just a startup, you can use all these channels for free. There's a lot you can do. There are a number of channels available. you're talking about low budget, I'm saying no budget. You can do it for zero money. All right. What you have, only the thing you have to make sure is you are creating content that matters to your audience and you're connecting with the right audience in that case. Then we have Ogbona wanting to know how to promote my bead making business to secure international patronage. Yes, Ogbona, with the social media, this is a very good thing that has happened, that we are able to reach out to people not only in a particular country, but we are able to reach out to geographies across the globe. So that is where you can take your business. Bead making is something very it's a beautiful art actually that exists in Nigeria, and we should be able to promote it to the rest of the world. How can we do that? We have to tell people about how beautiful our art is and what is the story that lies behind it. You have to connect it to a story. People or businesses, if I want to call them, businesses that can relate their products or services to stories are able to sell better. So if you can relate your bead making to the traditional stories or the history of Nigeria, and then number two, you can let people know about the beauty of your products by posting pictures or posting the different kinds of bead making stuff that is available with you guys, you should be able to reach out to a large amount of audience across the globe. Then we have Hannah, who wants to know, she has an NGO for young girls and young women, and how can she leverage on digital marketing to reach to audience all over the world? Of course, a lot of companies and individuals think a lot about social responsibility nowadays, and they are ready to contribute in terms of financial and non-financial terms. So having content that matters to everyone, you have to tell them why should they be liaising with your NGO. How are they making an impact when they connect with your NGO? What are the ways they can be contributing when they connect with your NGO? So you have to be telling them about your NGO. Okay, your NGO is about young girls and young women. What exactly are you doing? You have to let people know. You have to let people know that you are doing something great and you're doing something for the society, and how it benefits them, how it benefits the society as a whole, how the world is going to become if all of us take care of such small things. You have to tell them, you have to stir them emotionally so they can connect with you and they can be able to contribute to you in contribute to your NGO, in fact, in financial and non-financial terms. Then we have Blessing. Blessing wants to know, how does the role of social media play in building a successful brand with digital marketing? Social media plays 100% role. You cannot compromise on your social media channels. You have to be consistent. You have to be present for the people. You have to be present to answer their questions or any queries that they might have about your product or service. So you actually have to be present on social media for your people all the time. When I say your people, I mean your followers or the audience that you're targeting. Social media, of course, plays 100% role. You cannot be into digital marketing without social media. Then we have Oluchukwu. Oluchukwu wants to know, what are the basics? Yes, we have discussed a few basics of digital marketing during our webinar. Also, we have discussed the basics of how you can make your brand visible to the people. After the webinar, I think we are also going to share a summary of what we have discussed, which you can retain with you so you can have a read up later. And those are the basics we have already shared in the webinar. Then we have Lillian wanting to know, what are the ways in which I can make my brand thrive in the midst of various competitors? Lillian, the only way you can thrive amidst your competitors is you have to offer something for your people. Why should they go for you rather than going for your competitors? You have to tell them, why are you unique? Correct? You have to, you are the one who is going to take onus of it. You know, it's not their duty, it's your duty. You want to stand out. You have to tell your customers or your followers that you are unique. You are different from your competitors. You are doing something for the people. You are not simply selling your product and service. That is what you have to do. Then we have Retaune wanting to know, what are the basics needed to know for a beginner? Yes, we have already addressed this question in the webinar. Then we have Elizabeth lastly, who wants to know, I'm about to start a fashion business. How do I raise funds for it? Through digital marketing, and how long do I have to wait before I start? Okay, Elizabeth, my personal point of view, do not wait if you are really keen on starting. Let yourself be out there, create those social media channels, Try to have fundings from the banking or the financial institutions that we have. In case you are not able to have that, you can go in for crowdfunding, but crowdfunding will only do with something that resonates with people. If you are trying to open up a fashion store which talks about the traditions, which talks about the culture of Nigeria, then you might be able to get some kind of crowdfunding. But otherwise, you have to rely on your financial institutions, or if you have a really innovative plan, you can reach out to angel investors, and there are a number of organizations which are providing funding to startups like these. Yeah, you can find a lot of information on that on the internet. You have angel investors, you have financial institutions, and you have incubators. Please, you can go up to LinkedIn, and not only LinkedIn, you can go to social media channels or any of the internet channels or search engines, and you can find out more information about that. I think we are done with all those questions, and it was lovely, in fact, to have you all with us. Thank you so much for your time, and make sure you are branding yourself before others start branding you. Have a great day ahead, and all the best to you. Thank you.